Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I remain your host, Agu Joseph. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how I was able to recreate this flyer design from this to this in Photoshop. One of the major issues on this flyer has to do with the use of colors, the use of visual illustration, and the design layout. So while looking at this design, we'll look at what is the brand all about, who are their target audience, and what best way can we relate the message to the target audience. Now, looking at the brand, this is a fashion brand, and how can we relate this to its target audience? The target audience is the male target audience, to be precise. And you can see they make every form of designs wears for the male category. Now, what is the best way to actually communicate this in terms of the use of color? So I was able to make you a search on Google, and I type in the word luxury colors, and this actually comes up. Gold, deep blue, purple, white, black, among others, are set of colors that depict prestige and luxury, to be precise. So I had to work with colors that gives that feel in terms of the deep blue and the use of white feel in terms of the color. Likewise, on this design, I had to maintain structure by aligning the design using the left align method all throughout the design, thereby controlling the eye movement of my audience in my design. So without further ado, I would like to walk you through the design process, and please watch out. I'll be explaining some principles of graphic design in this video. So the first thing you have to do is to create a Canva workspace on which I'll be designing on, and create a Canva that will be used across social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, among others. So set our unit of measurement on pixels 1080 by 1350 to be precise. Resolution can be set on 300. Color mode can be set on the RGB because this design will be used across social media platforms. So I can call this fashion, okay, and leave other settings the video, click on the create. So here we have the canvas, and the first thing I would like to do is to drag in the resource files I'll be using to create this design. So guys, here are the exercise files I used in creating this design. Do well to check the video description. You find the link to the exercise files in the video description. So I'll start by working on the design background by using elements of a fabric, to be precise. Hit Ctrl T to scale it out because this fabric actually connotes what the brand is all about. This is a fashion brand. Okay, so for this, I'd like to take this down to around reducing the opacity to around something like this is okay. Head over to your curve adjustment and enable the curve adjustment, to be precise. Please, when working with the curve adjustment, it is made up of three regions. These ends are called the highlight, the middle regions are called the midtones, while these other ends here are called the shadow, to be precise. So while going up this way, I'm adding highlights. While going this way, I'm adding more of darkness. So I'd like to add a little feel of highlight to this like this, and we are good to go. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do here on the background face has to do with creating a customized new layer by hitting Ctrl Shift N on the keyboard and call this noising, and like to add a little depth of noise to the background. Change the blending mode to soft light, enable the 50% gray, and click on the OK button. Right click and convert it to a smart object. By doing so, it enables you to make subsequent adjustments to the layer at any point in time in your design. So head over to filter, add noise, and click on add noise. Okay, I think let me see, this amount is good enough. You don't need it to be too heavy on the background. Okay, so I'll click on the OK button for that, and for this I'll select this holding shift and click on this as well to select the three layers so far, and hit Ctrl G to group them. By doing so, it enables you to group your layer and make your layer panel as neat and likewise organized at the same time. So I can double click on this and call it BG, which stands for the background. So the next phase has to do with placing of the visuals. So for here, I'll have this visual over here, and I like to select both of them. You can see they are currently a smart object layer. Okay, you can right click and convert them to smart object, but currently they are in form of a smart object. So I hit the Ctrl T button to scale them down like this into my canvas. Okay, this is perfect. Likewise for this, I'll scale this down. Okay, and position this around somewhere here like this. Okay, that's for that. Select both layers and then you can choose to scale them down or scale them up together simultaneously without any hustle. Okay, that's for that. So I might choose to adjust the position of this like this, and we are good to go. Let me scale this a little bit like this. Okay, so that's for that. So the next thing I would like to do here is to add a fill of lighting source to this. Okay, enable this and change the blending mode to screen to be precise. So drag this beneath uh, the the images or the visuals. Okay, this to drag them beneath them, and Ctrl T and position them around somewhere here like this to create a synergy that there is a light source around here. So hold Alt left click to make a duplicate. Okay, you see what actually happens. Okay, here you can right click on this and create a clipping mask, then reduce the opacity to around let me see, this works perfectly well for this. Okay, so after we are done with that, the next thing I would like us to do is to hold Alt, make a duplicate again. You can hold Alt in between the two layers, and you have your mouse pointer with an arrow pointing down this way. Left click and to create a clipping mask for that. Okay, you can still choose to scale down the opacity to a good minimum. Okay, likewise on the face of your subject. So I can choose to adjust this a little and we are good to go. Likewise for this, I might choose to reduce this to around this as well. I don't need that to be very heavy. I'm trying to control the amount of light input on the visuals here. Okay, so I can select this to scale them down. Don't need them to be too heavy. This is on 45 and this is on 45 as well, respectively. So I think we are good to go. So for the marquee, I might choose to add a little feel of depth by heading over to the filter, applying a camera raw filter. Okay, thereby boosting up the textures of the clothing. Okay, so here we start with the basics and enhance the textures, just more of the textures and clarity. Okay, I think we are good to go like this. Okay, this is coming to life. Likewise, select the purple marquee mannequin. I beg your pardon. So I'll apply the camera filter to this as well. So apply the same technique of textures and a little bit of clarity to this. Okay, to make the mannequin to actually pop. Okay, so I think this is okay. So I can select this, holding shift, select this to group this together, and I can call this mannequin. Okay, so I can just abbreviate it this way. So the next phase has to do with placing of the text, informations, and other uh, information such as social media icons and the rest of them. So I would like to first of all create my guides, head over to guides and enable the new guide layout to be precise. So I'm working with the margin preset. I'm setting this as follows: 120 pixels by 120 pixels all throughout. and we are good to go for that. Okay, so I'm basically looking at the left align uh scale. Okay, so I like to enable the logo of the brand. It is currently a smart object. Okay, if you like, you can still convert it to a smart object. It is left for you. So we like to position this around here. Is actually okay. Likewise, enable the informations. Okay, so for this, I also like to enable the use of the color palette. This is the color palette we'll be using for the design. Okay, so looking at this as well, you can see that we have some set of information here. So all I have to do is to place them here myself, and select this particular word with the emphasis everything, and change its fill color to this to be precise. So why am I trying to do this? Why am I trying to change the fill of color here? This has to do with contrast. Okay, so contrast has to do with how you make a particular element or a particular visual stand out from the rest of the information in your design. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to do here. So this, I also change this to white because I'll be creating a rectangle of around something like this. Okay, and I'll be placing I'll be using this fill. Here is a hex code for the color for this. Okay, so this should be directly beneath this. Okay, and I would like to add a round curve to the shape. Okay, likewise for the text, I can choose to scale it down and position it into the middle of this as well. Okay, that is for this. So I can choose to change the name of the font. I'll be using a font called let me see, Gotham should work perfectly well for this. So let me work with the semi bold of the Montserrat. I think Montserrat will work perfectly well. So I hold the control key on the keyboard, left click to select the rectangle. You see the mouse pointer changes to a hand icon when you hold the control key. So you hold the control key, left click to make a quick selection of the shape. Pick the move to align this horizontally and vertically into the shape. Make sure the layer is selected before applying the vertical and horizontal alignments while the move tool is selected. So you hit Ctrl D to deselect. That is for that. Okay, so you can see that the information is actually standing out in the shape. So I can hit Ctrl T to scale the size. So select both layers and adjust them like this. Okay, so the next thing it has to do with placing in the headline text. Okay, this is the headline text. I'll cut it out and position it here Okay, for this I'll change the font to Gotham. I think black should work. Okay, narrow down the space by adjusting the tracking. Please, if you don't have your character panel or your property panel enable, you can enable it from the windows and you're good to go. Okay, so hit Ctrl T to transform and scale up. Okay, so I will lock down the space between the text this way. I think this is perfectly okay, and change the fill color to this as well, and we are good to go. Okay, that's for that. So the next thing I would like us to do here is to still increase the size. Now, why am I increasing the size? I'm trying to create contrast in terms of visual weight. Okay, so it is expected that when the target audience look at this design, this should be the first text they should see while looking at this design. Okay, so it should be much bigger in size so that it can stand out from any set of informations that you're placing in this design. Okay, that is the essence of you scaling up the size of this design to thereby creating what? The contrast. The main essence of this guide here is to give your design a structure, making sure that every element you are actually placing on text, you'll be placing on the design will be well aligned in your canvas. Okay, so that's for that. For this, I will select the text tool and change the fill color of this. Likewise, create a contrast by making another emphasis on the word wears. Okay, so I would like to select these two layers here, this and this. Okay, hit Ctrl G to group them. Okay, these particular layers, I can group them and call them specials. Okay, and make a duplicate. I think I made a mistake on my spellings here. Okay, SPE. Okay, this works. Okay, for this I would like to call this wares. Okay, or services. Let me call this services to be precise. Hit Ctrl T, take this down here like this and check. Okay, we like to rename this to be R. Okay, trying to maintain consistency, okay, throughout the design. Services. So for the R, I have to enable the white fill for this to make it stand out. Okay, so I think we are good to go for this. Hit Ctrl T, scale it down, and we are good to go. Hold Ctrl left click to select this. Pick your move to align horizontally and vertically into the shape, and we are good to go. Okay, I can still select the group. Hit Ctrl T, scale it out a little bit to make the services stand out. Okay, so pick the text to and take out these lines of text. Okay, take them out from here. You come over here, paste them, hit Ctrl T to scale, and what else? You can scale it up properly the way you want it. Okay, and we are good to go. So for this, I would like to create a rectangle here to create a form of a bullet. Okay, left click holding shift to create a perfect square. Change the fill color to this. Okay, make sure it's well aligned. Ctrl J to make a duplicate of that. Okay, Ctrl J to make a duplicate. Ctrl J to make another duplicate. Okay, so you can select the whole tree, select the first rectangle, hold shift, select the next rectangle, and equally space them out horizontally and vertically. Okay, and we are good to go. So I can select this and this, hit Ctrl G to group them as well, and I will call this or I can drag them into this group of services so that they can be under one group. This works perfectly well. Perfecto. So I think what else are we going to do here is to create contrast by scaling this up and changing the style for this to, let me see, mediums work perfectly well for this. Okay, for this I'll set this on let me see, light works perfectly well. Okay, I'm trying to create contrast with scale. Okay, so for the style here, I will set this on this. Okay, likewise for this as well. I would like to make this stand out this way. Okay, but I feel this might not be good enough. Let me change the font to, let me see, Gotham should work perfectly well. Okay, Gotham medium, yeah, this works perfectly well. So select this, change this to light, select this, change this to light as well. Likewise, select this and change this to light. Okay, so we are trying to create contrast and at the same time creating hierarchy in the design. Okay, so I think we are good to go. So I will like to reposition this to around somewhere here like this. Okay, you can see some things are interfering here. Okay, like these images, I would like to select this and this. Okay, this and this, the two mannequin images, scale them down a little bit. We are good. Select this, scale it up. We are good as well. I think for the mannequin images, I can still choose to take them up a little. Likewise, for this other image, mannequin image, I can choose to take it down a little. Okay, for the services as well, scale it up like this. Okay, so I think this is okay so far. So I might then choose to create what we call proximity, which has to do with the use of space. So I might choose to still play with my guides. Okay, I might choose to take up the guides up this way, take up this manually. Okay, so I may choose to reposition some of these. Now, proximity has to do with you placing some certain elements that has relationship side by side each other. Okay, so I'm trying to create that space by using use of white space here to create the feel of contrast here. Okay, I can scale this down a little bit like this, and we are good to go. So right click here on your tool panel here where you have your shapes, select the line tool, left click holding shift to create a straight line, set your stroke to around 1 pixels, and we are good to go. So I'll use the navigation key to adjust its position like this. Ctrl T, Ctrl plus to zoom in perfectly well. Ctrl plus, okay, and we are good to go like this. Okay, so after I'm done with that, I would like to make a duplicate by holding Alt. Okay, make another duplicate of it by still holding Alt and Shift at the same time. Okay, that's for that. So I think we are almost done with this. Okay, so the next part has to do with me taking out this line of text here. Okay, and or let me return the line of text back. Okay, so for this line of text, I might choose to add tab to create room for my icons, the social media icons I'll be placing in there. Okay, okay, so for the social media icons, here they, okay, and Control 0 to fit to screen. Okay, so for this, I would like to select them, hit Control T, they're already in form of a smart object. So Control plus to zoom in, scale down the size and position like this. Okay, for the that's for that for the X, we'll take it down here. For the Facebook as well, we take it down here to be precise. Okay, so these are the three. So I'll select the three layers, pick the move tool and space them equally by clicking the horizontal, distribute vertically rather, and Ctrl 0 to fit to screen and Ctrl H to hide the guides. Okay, so I can adjust this way and still adjust this like this as well by adjusting the line spacing. Okay, can see, I think I should leave other settings like this. I think this is much better. So for this, I might choose to take it out. For the socials and the contacts, I might choose to select them and group them together. Control G. Yeah, I can call this contacts. Okay, so I'm trying to organize my layers as neat as possible. And after that, I might still choose to play with some certain things. Yeah, pick the move to select this. Are we good? Okay, I can see that the light was not appearing on that surface. Okay, that's for that. So guys, after I'm done with this, I'll just uh choose to add maybe a color lookup to spice up things. Okay, and see a color lookup that works. Okay, the color pops much better like this. Okay, and I can still choose to pick the pen tool. Where's the pen tool? Okay, it's currently on part. Come over here and create a shape like this. Okay, hold Alt, break, and connect them to the starting point, and click on shape. Okay, it becomes a shape. Turn off the fill and double click on the layer. Head over to gradient overlay. Okay, and expand the gradient. Over here on the editor, I created this using, okay, let me explain the whole process. Let me copy the hex code of the color first. Okay, so you can come here and select any color of your choice, any gradient of your choice. That's the funny part of this. I'll come over here. Okay, I've selected this. I'll just turn off the opacity for this to 0. Then head over here and paste in my hex code for the color I want to use. So this is a color here, but there's no opacity. Here is my orange color, but there is 100% opacity. Okay, that's why you have the light flare looking this way. So you follow these other settings the way they are, and you are good to go. So I can still come here, rotate the angle and position it the way I want it to appear in my design like this. Okay, you can still take your design a step further by standing visible by hitting Ctrl Shift Alt E. Right click to convert to a smart object. Head over to your camera raw filter to be precise. Okay, so over here on the camera raw filter, you can play with some certain things such as the textures, the clarity. Okay, you can head over to a little fill of details and sharpening. Okay, if this is okay for you, you can head over to color mixer. Okay, you can play with saturations of certain colors over here. Maybe the purple, for example. I can play with the purples to any level of saturation. For this, I can just play with those certain colors of reds. Likewise, the orange, it just has to do with more of an eyeballing situations. So there are no rules to that. I may still choose to add a little feel of effects. I add in some depth of grains to this. Think if this is okay, and we can click on the OK button afterwards. So this is without the camera raw, and this is with the camera raw filter. So ladies and gentlemen, you have come to the end of this video. If you do find it helpful, do it to like, comment, and share with other creatives around you. If you are new to the channel and you're yet to join the community, do it to smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell to get notification whenever we upload new content. And for returning subscriber guys, thank you for always watching, and see you in the next.